Okay, so let's do another one. Example 2. In this case, in example 2, we actually already have the percent. It says 20% of 40 is what number? Okay, remember our keywords of is and of. I like to use the word is for part as a keyword, and for whole, I like to use the of word because this part is 15 or 14 out of 20, whatever the case may be. Okay, I like to use that wording when we do it. Okay, so here we go. It says 20% of 240 is what number? We have the percent this time. So let's go ahead and just set that up right here. The percent is this part of the formula. So here we go. We're going to have 20% out of 100. We already know the percent. And what does that equal? So obviously, we're going to be missing the part or we're going to be missing the whole. Now, if you look at your keywording, we have of 240. I know that of is a keyword of whole. Okay, so I'm going to put it down here. Plug in my whole. Okay, and then it says is what number? Okay, so we're looking for the is. We're looking for the part. Okay, so that's where I'm going to put X. I don't know what this number is. And because I don't know what number this is where X is going to go. X represents an unknown number. Okay, so after we do all of that and we set up our problem, then we're ready to begin. We are looking for the part. We know the whole and we know the percent. So here we go. Same steps as before as we did in part 1. In example 1, we're going to cross multiply. So I'm going to use another color. Let's use purple. Okay, to do step 2. Here we go. We're going to cross multiply. Here we go. X times 100. And it doesn't matter which one you do first. It's the same deal. So X times 100 is just 100X. 100 times X. Remember, if two numbers are next to each other, it means that they're multiplying, right? 100X. And then I'm going to multiply these two. Okay, I'm not going to do that. You can multiply on your own. What is 20 times, it's not 20% times 240. It's just 20 times 240. You really don't even have to put that percent there. I just put it there so you would know where we were putting it. So here we go, 20 times 240. And then we're going to have, I would just do it like this. 24 times 2 is 48. Okay. And then we have 2 zeros, 4,800. Okay. So we have 4,800 equals 100X. Okay. So what we need to do now is we need to get X isolated by itself. Right now, this is X times 100, but the opposite of multiplication is division. So in order to get X by itself, I'm going to write out my equation here. I'm going to divide to get rid of that. Okay, so here we go. Step 3, we're going to divide it out. 100X, 100 divided by 100 is 1. So it cancels out. And whatever I do to this side, I got to do to this side. So I'm going to put over 100. Now, we can reduce this because a common factor between these two numbers is 100. Okay, they have a common factor of 100. Okay, so I can reduce that before I divide. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these 2 zeros and I'm just going to cancel them out. Now, this one turned out perfect because now we have 48 divided by 1. So here we go. We have 48 divided by 1 equals x. Well, we know that 48 divided by 1 is just 48. So 48 equals x. Okay, and what does x represent? It represents the part that we are looking for today. Sorry, my pen is acting weird. It is 48 equals x, and that is the part. So 20% of 240 is 48. So really, 48 out of 240 is 20%, okay? Is 20%. Okay, but this is what gives us the part and what we're looking for. Okay, let's do one more problem. Actually, we're going to do two more problems. Okay, because I want you to get a good idea of how this can look different. Okay, so here we go. We're starting out the same way. We're starting out with step 1, where we need to find what we are looking for. We're going to set up our formula. We're looking for x. Okay, but where do we put x? So here we go. 16 is 30% of what number? Now let's remember our key words. Our part is our is and our whole is our of. Okay, I like to do it that way. This part is of this out of this whole, okay? In this case, if you look, we already have our percent. It says 30%. Okay, that's this right here. So we're going to write, remember the 100 always stays the same. That's never going to move. So I'm going to write 30 out of 100 equals. So that means that we're either looking for our part or our whole. But here we go. 16 is out of what number? So we have the part. Here's the key word is. 16 is what percent out of this number, out of the whole? 16 is what percent out of the whole? So we are looking for the whole. Okay, and my keyword is of. That's how I know I'm looking for my whole. Okay, so now that I have 16 over x, and we know that we're looking for the whole, okay, that's why I put x there, I can go ahead and I can cross multiply. Step 2, cross multiply. Okay, here we go. 16 times 100. Okay, I'm not going to do that math for you. You can do that on your own. 16 times 100 is 1600 because 1 times 16 is 16 and there's 2 zeros, 1600. And then we're going to cross multiply 30 times x. How do we write that? 30 times x. Okay, they're right next to each other. Remember, because division is the opposite of multiplication, now we can isolate x for step 3 over here. How do we do that? We do that by dividing, doing the opposite of it to divide. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to write 1600 equals 30x. Okay, and then I'm going to divide. Remember, 30 divided by 30 is just 1, so it cancels out, and I'm going to bring it over here. So I have 30, and then I'm going to reduce because tens can go into both of these numbers. So I'm just going to get rid of those 2 zeros on top of each other. And so now I have 160 over 3 equals x by itself. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to divide that out. What is 160 divided by 3? Okay, 3 goes into 16 5 times. That's 15 minus, it gives us 1. Bring down our 0, 10. And then we have 3 times 3. and that equals 9. And what's going to end up happening is, and guys, you should be able to do this. I got a 1. I'm going to put a decimal right here, and I'm going to add a 0. I'm going to raise the roof, bring my decimal up. Okay, I'm going to bring down another 0. And as you can see, it's going to continue to repeat. Okay, because 3 times 3 is going to continuously be 9. And subtracting it from 10 is going to continuously be 1. And we're going to bring down 0 after 0. So it's a repeating decimal. Okay, so 53.3. Okay, 16 is about 30% of 53.3. Okay, so sometimes you might get a decimal. That's probably not a very good example with the decimal, but just know that that is the whole and what we were looking for. So in this case, because x is the whole, x, we were looking for our whole. Okay, so let's go.